Okay, everybody, this is the long awaited final installment of the Tuner Tales, Chapter 9, or the ninth Tuner Tale, called Tuner's Stolen Christmas. Dad promised he would be back in time to get a Christmas tree. It was Christmas Eve, and traditionally the tree was put up that night. Tuner had been waiting all afternoon for him to finish his shift at the restaurant. She and Panda the dog were waiting, and the time passed slowly. Every now and then, Panda, a husky and Samoyed cross with black patches of fur on his ears and eyes, would get up and paw at the front door. If Dad came home too late, the Christmas tree lots would be closed. If Dad came straight home, not having a drink with his friends, they could make it to the tree lot just before 6. If he went to the lot after work and then came home with the tree, Tuner worried she might fall asleep and not have the time to decorate it. Tuner did not believe in Santa since she had seen through the plastic shopping bags her mom carried one year, so she didn't worry about that. She knew there would be no presents this year's Christmas morning because Dad had postponed presents until they could go up north to Granny's chalet, but at least she wanted a tree. Dad worked as a waiter, but he was really a jazz saxophone musician. Tuner played the flute, but never practiced. Dad practiced all the time when he was home, and she loved listening. Right now, her ear was tuned to the front hall of the building. Dad had just moved into the basement apartment of a duplex. In it was a tartan plaid covered two-seater sofa and a few wobbly wooden chairs. Each chair had been painted over older chipped paint. One of the chairs held up a black and white 1970s TV with a coat hanger antenna. It had buttons that rotated and clicked into place, which Tuner used to feel the way to her next channel. She loved the TV. Tuner watched the comedy shows, the commercials, and of course the cartoons. Her favorite Christmas cartoon was The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. In the kitchen, there was Dad's massive round oak table that he'd been lugging from apartment to apartment since he and Mom had split up when Tuner was 6, and more spindly chairs. On the table sat a large balance scale with its ounce counterbalance weights. The day's newspaper nearly covered the tabletop, partially hiding Dad's pipe paraphernalia. The fridge was empty because it didn't work, but Tuner had found $5 on the table with a note to get herself a burger up the street. She had gotten the burger, walked Panda, and now there was nothing to do but wait. Dad hadn't lived here long enough to get cable, so she had fruitlessly fiddled with the antenna, only managing to hear voices in the snow. Tuner wished she had brought her French doll from Mom's place, but she had left it there so it wouldn't get lost. There was a bedroom for her with a mattress on the floor and a sheet covering the window. She wasn't comfortable in that room, so she stayed on the little couch. Tuner was 10 years old, self-sufficient, hopeful, and having awful anxiety as she waited. She waited all night through to the morning via fitful sleep. Alone with Panda, she waited and listened for some sound of Dad returning home with a Christmas tree. She was still hopeful at dusk, but started to lose hope as she dozed and woke and cried. The moment she had squeezed all the possibilities out of her worries, her anxiety set in like a frozen lake, hard and dark. Tuner had worried about missing going to the tree lot. Then she had worried about being alone. She felt lonely and tired, and then angry, and then scared. What if he didn't come home, she thought. What if he had gotten into a fight, she thought. Fighting was a real possibility, as when she was 5, after he came home from jail, he had had his jaw broken when he was out drinking. Where even was he? She wanted to go and find him, but this was a new neighborhood. When she had been 6 years old, she had known where the tavern was, where he liked to play pool and drink. But she had resolved she would never go and get him again after he had hit her in the face that last time. Now that she was 10, she knew she had to stay in the apartment waiting. flipping between hope and despair as she talked herself out of walking back to Mom's apartment across town. She had tried that once when she lost her keys, but it only made part of the way before she was exhausted. The morning came and Dad returned. He had been drinking after work and couldn't find an open tree lot. He said he was so ashamed he went back to the tavern. He drove Tuner back to Mom's place so she could open presents there and promised to bring her to Granny's chalet in a few days. Mom's place was smaller than Dad's, but it was closer to the university where she was getting her degree. There were 3 rooms, a bedroom for Tuner, a bedroom for Mom, and a tiny kitchen with a Murphy table and bench. The apartment also had a small bathroom with a large old-fashioned claw-footed tub. Tuner went straight to her room and to her bed, where her French doll and teddies were lined up. The best doll she had was given to her by her great-grandmother from France. Marguerite had brought the doll for her in France, and the doll traveled with her to Florida, where they all, Tuner, Mom, and Auntie, had gathered to visit Tuner's grandmama. That was when Tuner was 4 years old, and she still loved that doll the best. She had long, blonde waves of hair and green glass eyes that closed when she lay flat. Tuner spent hours dressing her doll in several layers of lacy clothes that her aunt had sewed. She tenderly put her doll to sleep every night with goodnight kisses and sat her up in the mornings amongst the soft animals. That doll had been rescued from the apartment fire a year later, and she was lucky to still have it at Mom's place. A few days later, Tuner and Dad and Guy, his best friend, went up north to Granny's chalet on Lac des Îles. The chalet sat on a hillside right by the lake where Guy and Dad went snowmobiling and ice fishing. Granny had set up a fake tree with lights. They had presents there, and she got a Cabbage Patch doll, the year's unobtainable toy craze. But it wasn't the right one. When Tuner opened the wrapping, she saw the doll's squished-looking face, wide eyes, and chubby cheeks. Tuner thought, "This is a boy doll." Cabbage Patch dolls were each unique and had soft, huggable bodies. The real ones had a signature on their bodies and came with adoption certificates. Tuner had spent months visiting the one she wanted at the department store after school. But this doll, a boy, wearing gray and purple sweatshirt and pants, with short curly blonde hair, was no replacement for her favorite doll she had been given by her great-grandmother. Panda the dog was curious and came over to sniff her new doll, then turned away and pawed at the French doors leading to the snow-covered balcony. Tuner turned around to see Dad and Guy snickering together. Guy laughed out loud, and Dad hushed him. Something was funny about how they had gotten the doll, but she wasn't supposed to know. Suddenly, Tuner realized the Cabbage Patch doll was stolen. Now she knew why it wasn't the one she had wanted at the department store, though she had carefully described what she looked like. Now it made sense how Dad managed to get one when they were sold out everywhere and impossible to find. Tuner held her baby boy doll, and her anxiety thawed slightly. Tuner remembered the Grinch cartoon and how the Whos were just happy to be together on Christmas morning, though the presents did come after the Grinch's change of heart. She felt good to be at the house up north again with Granny, and she was glad to have and hold on to her new doll. Tuner couldn't wait to go back home and show Mom the Cabbage Patch doll. She would put him next to her favorite French doll. And that is the end of the Tuner Two Shoes story and series for now. I have a few stories tucked away in my mind, but that'll be for the next collection. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying it. All right, bye now.